Hey guys, welcome back to the Heel Podcast. This week we are doing our rundown and our podcast of the last month from Survivor Series and pretty much all of November and the end of October. We've had a few things happen. We had a weird title change over in NXT. I think that was this last month, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, which one?
Yeah. True. Right, shall we start off, as we're on it, shall we start off with NXT? Makes most sense.
Yeah, I guess.
You might notice that Link's a bit tired. You might as well. Too much.
Yeah, probably approach the elephant in the room. This is actually being recorded live on our stream. We actually have people talking to us. And we are at hour 22 and a half of the 24-hour live stream. So we are finishing this with the grand finale of finishing with the podcast. So forgive us if this podcast is a bit slower paced than normal. We're tired.
I'm dead.
You've done well, mate. So, what's been happening over in NXT, lads? Obviously, we've established quite often that I don't watch wrestling as much as I should do, considering I run a wrestling podcast. But
do you know what, mate? Like, I know there's stuff going on with Grimes and Dexter Loomis. That's been quite interesting. Still, nothing major like, but it's been interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
We've had the ongoing saga with
McAfee,
the Archer of Infamy. What's his name?
I'm shocking with nicknames, by the way.
Big dude was North American champion.
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest, that's the one. That's what I was trying to get to.
Didn't know his nickname, not going to lie.
Him and Leon Ruff.
Leon Ruff, who is now the current champion. But it wasn't...
Where did it come from?
He didn't take off a Priest, though, did he?
No, he took it from Gargano.
He took off a Gargano, which is an odd one.
Two pretty shocking changes there.
Got me, my favourite bit of NXT is the announcement that we knew was going to be coming up from.
Sorry.
Exactly that. It's the one bit of NXT I love every year.
It's going to be good. This week, actually, Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai was absolutely fantastic. Brilliant match. Absolutely incredible. I think Rhea's coming to the main roster. I think that was her send-off from NXT.
It'd be a good way to save that women's division over on Raw and SmackDown, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they need to do something to inject a little bit of life into it, and she's a bit of life. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
The thing is, would she end up getting lost over there like so many people?
No.
Don't know.
She's going to be Charlotte Flair level very quickly.
Yeah.
Like she's too good to not be at the top.
They were kind of teasing that a while ago, weren't they, that she was going to come up with Charlotte, and then it faded off. So I was like, maybe.
Yeah, no, she's definitely going to be right up at the top. Obviously, we mentioned War Games, so we've got the Undisputed Era going to come up against the brand, I guess, that they're calling themselves, which is 1-2 punch. Adam. Mate, I'm sorry, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Adam, the 6-foot guy that's like 5'2".
McAfee.
Yeah, I can't remember.
That's Pat McAfee. My brain.
Adam,
Oh my god!
Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
There we go. Right. Jesus, how did I struggle with that?
Yeah, so you've had the Undisputed Era doing their thing. You've then got Only Lorcan, Danny Burch, who were recently champions. That was technically just over a month ago.
Yeah.
That was on NXT. Was that? That may have been after our last podcast.
I think it was. Yeah. Because that's when Pat McAfee came back and
yeah,
became the leader of this new stable. Pete Dunne's back as well.
Yeah, it was a big shock.
There's something being teased with Finn. And they definitely, that wasn't an accident that he brought out the Undisputed Era this week. It wasn't an accident. Like, there's something coming there.
Are we thinking of going in as 5 or dividing them up maybe?
I mean, they're gonna stay as 4. They're gonna stay as 4 for War Games, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Finn become closer to them.
Right.
Yeah, and then the storyline building from that.
Yeah. It's very possible that Cole's not going to re-sign with NXT.
Right.
And that he's going to off to AEW with his wife. You know, that's got to be considered, and Finn could be being put into position to be the new leader and take over.
It'd be a massive shame if we lose Adam Cole. To be fair, to AEW.
It would, but
yeah, I think that pretty much sums up NXT, don't it? Really, for what's happened.
Yeah. So then, of course, we'll move across as we're sort of focusing on a bit on WWE as we usually do, because I'm not massively sold on AEW. What's been happening?
They did put on a decent pay-per-view this month, in fairness.
Yeah,
fair enough.
They did.
It was quite good. Yeah.
The only thing I wasn't impressed with was Young Bucks, because I'm not a big Young Bucks fan. I can't stand Young Bucks.
No, I agree with that.
And that was the only. Otherwise, other than that, it was a good show they put on.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I agree.
Sorry, mate.
I agree with that as well.
Have you got anything else to add for the AEW thing? Because obviously I'm clueless.
One thing, who debuted in AEW since we've recorded last? Devon's boys.
No, yeah.
What, as in kids?
Yeah, he's sons.
2 twin sons, Annie.
Yeah, they're in AEW. Yeah, they're signed to AEW now.
Fair enough.
That was a bit of a shock. I thought they'd come in to WWE, but no, they've gone over to AEW, which was a bit.
Good shout there,
Darby Allin.
Yep.
Darby Allin winning a TNT title over there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I can see
that night actually when he beat Cody for that.
I kind of saw that coming, if I'm honest.
Yeah, the Cody becoming Cody Rhodes isn't. I wouldn't say is important, is it? It was going to happen. They were going to let it run out eventually, because why would they keep trying to keep hold of it? It's just it's pointless.
Yeah, it would have been petty to do that and not let him just take the rights back. That would have been petty.
So right, we'll move on to Raw and SmackDown then for our recent sort of storylines. If we work through whatever we can come up with. So if we base it maybe around the matches we've got before we actually get into the actual Survivor Series. In the last month, when did Miz win the Money in the Bank?
The last pay-per-view, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, actually it was, yeah. So obviously we've had the Miz doing his thing.
Threatening cash-ins every week, basically, isn't it? He went to attempt it once, but yeah, it's going to happen soon. It's going to be coming. They're teasing it too much.
I wouldn't say soon necessarily. He's definitely going to keep himself noticed and in the picture.
He did even last night, we'll talk about that, but he was even kept him relevant last night.
So obviously with leading up to Survivor Series, the stuff with Roman and Drew, I think, has been great. The stuff with Roman, to be fair, the last couple of months, I think, has been fantastic. Really, really enjoyed what they've been doing. Over on Raw, just going over to the women's, Lana's been put through the table 9 times.
Yeah.
With Nia Jax, there's 2 people that really far from interest me.
The thing with that is it's the women's champion over there is just not doing nothing. For me, it's become a bit of a bore over there. It's a bit bad. That's become like the main storyline for the women's storyline. That's become the main bit. For me, it's a bit really. You've got some great wrestlers there. Use them. This is the worst state I've seen the women's division in since the women's revolution type things. I think this is the most stale we've seen it. They've made Asuka a bit of a joke at coming out and doing impressions, and catchphrases, and it's a bit really.
Again,
Yeah, she's just a bit wacky, isn't she? Rather than being the
Asuka
crazy
wasn't-
badass that we knew she was.
Asuka was never Asuka as soon as she left NXT. Because let's be honest, obviously I think all three of us are relatively big fans of Charlotte Flair, but we all saw that coming. Her losing to Charlotte. Charlotte wasn't going to take the pin.
She should have lost to Charlotte.
She 100% should have lost to Charlotte, and then it might have kept it going, and actually Asuka could still be fire right now. But
wait, no, I said she should have lost to Charlotte.
oh, she should have lost to Charlotte.
Yeah,
but I think it killed. It does kill. It killed it.
Yeah, but why keep building it? What are you building to? You can't make a Goldberg out of her.
No, like, but okay. What are you building to? Is your question. But then what did they have ready for her after?
Well, I mean, she's still pretty dominant. She's the current champion. Like, she's not exactly gone back to doing absolutely nothing, is she?
But the last couple of months of wrestling with Sasha Banks has been appalling.
Well, yeah, but that's because Sasha's dog shit. I mean, not very good.
We say that, but she put on an okay match with Bayley at the last pay-per-view.
The thing is, it's just one there's some decent females in there, and you're just making her a bit of a joke act, and that she's a great wrestler. Let her wrestle. Let her have some brilliant matches, even if it's Shayna and people like that. Let her go out and show what she can do. Definitely. Yeah, even if they combine the women's title, make it one champion for the smaller rosters, because there's some great people. Like I'd love to see Asuka, Bianca Belair, things like that. I'd love to see matches like that.
I mean, Belair's a future champion regardless. Like, there's no point even worrying about her. She's young enough that she's still got a lot of her career
I would
ahead.
love to see matches like, because even if she lost to Asuka, you still want to see more of her. It's not like that it would actually harm her to take a loss like that, or even Asuka. Just matches like that I want to see, not just a bit of a joke sketch kind of thing every other week. It's a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was sort of the gist of the women's Survivor Series lead up. So we had the Raw and SmackDowns build up. So we've had it's being put in randomly, just given it.
Yeah, which frustrating.
Yeah, we've had Matt Riddle losing half his name. We've had Jey Uso doing things with his cousin. We've had AJ with a big dude.
As I said, the dude is massive.
Huge. We've had Seth Rollins, basically everybody knowing for the last month that he's going to be gone for at least a month or so.
Yep.
Sheamus is now allied with Drew.
Yeah, it's turned Sheamus face again. Yeah, Sheamus kind of turned face just by talking to Drew backstage.
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's like, oh, you're like, I'm Irish, which is like almost British.
And I give you the sword that you used to have.
But in America, that I suppose Irish is British because they're wrong.
And we had Braun being Braun.
Yeah, and otherwise, apart from that, what's been happening with the Hurt business?
Bobby Lashley's become a bit of an unbeatable figure.
Now, yeah. They finished their rivalry with Retribution. That was there because they were basically playing the hired guns, weren't they?
Right.
So they finished their rivalry there with the Hurt business with Retribution. Sorry, and basically as a reward for that, they got a tag team title shot, and they lost.
It was a good match, though, wasn't it?
That's it. Like, there's not really much more to it. Obviously, yeah, Lashley's still a dominant beast. Like,
yeah, they're really pushing him as that unstoppable figure now. So it's going to take something big to beat him.
Yeah.
And then we had going against his partner. We had Sammy. Did he take a pin on Friday night?
Yeah, he was in that tag match that was thrown together, weren't he?
But otherwise, what else he had in the last month?
More of Fiend and Bliss, and Alexa Bliss has been every week has been absolutely brilliant. We actually got to see Bray have a match again, didn't we? Against The Miz, which was really good.
That's really odd. That's really odd to me, though. It's like that's one of the main things that they've been building up for the last month, and like zero sign of them again, like they did with Retribution. Zero sign of them. Build them up for the entire month, and then have zero sign of them at Survivor Series.
But is that clever? Because every time they run to him, we want them again and again, and when we don't get them, we're like, "What?" And what's the bet now? They'll be on it again tonight.
It's a fair point.
And they'll give another segment we've all been waiting for.
It's
that slow build up that Link's always said about.
Yeah, it is a slow
build up. It works.
Yeah.
Ram it down our throats, we'll get bored.
Everyone wants it instantly.
Yeah.
That's it.
But,
I think that covers us for the ones that are actually on the things. So should we just get straight into the actual pay-per-view itself? Obviously, straight on to Survivor Series now, lads. It was a pay-per-view that I actually really thoroughly enjoyed. I know that there's been a lot of talk about other people that I've seen saying they didn't enjoy it, but I actually enjoyed this pay-per-view as a whole.
The one bit I really liked was our predictions. Every one of them, basically, could have been a toss of a coin.
It's got to be the hardest predictions we've ever given.
Yeah, it wasn't. There was not one match. The one match we actually thought that was really predictable went the opposite way.
It did. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
The only match that we all agreed on went the opposite way to the way that we all went.
And I think that says everything about it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what made it enjoyable for me. It weren't obvious and predictable like a lot of times it has been.
Yeah. So we will go through them. Miz winning the Battle Royale. 18-man Battle Royale.
It's clever.
It's clever.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have to appear on the show. He didn't have to take a loss, but it made him relevant again. Every week we're seeing him with this Money in the Bank, and it's making everyone all the time think, there's going to be a cash-in, there's going to be a cash-in.
Well, it's exactly what we're saying. When we got to the end of the show, we were going, right, at the end after the main event, which we'll get to, he's going to cash in here, he's going to cash in here. There was no sign of him. But I think that was the whole point, is just keep you thinking, right, we actually have a one that we trust now. Because obviously they gave up without us. I don't really know why they put it on him, but he's not on it now, so that's the main point.
I don't think they know why they put it on him, to be honest with you.
He was hot at the time, wasn't he? And that was it. And he was being backed, and people were sort of clamouring, go on, just give it to him. And then when he actually got given it, people were like, why have you given it to him?
Yeah.
It's one of those we were begging for Otis not to cash in, and that's got to the point we're begging for the Miz to do it.
Yeah.
Just,
because
Yes.
Could you imagine Otis going, us sat there going, please not Otis, please not Otis, please not Otis. But I'm glad Miz has got it, because Miz is one of my favourites. For our breakers, we all put down somebody different for our tiebreakers for our predictions. Obviously, none of me and Pete's weren't even in it, and Murphy went out relatively early on.
Yeah, about halfway.
Yeah. So that was sort of out the window. It was a bit of a random one, but obviously beating Dominic Mysterio puts Dominic Mysterio up, gives him a little bit more of a push. Without going over the top, I suppose. Puts him as second best in the Battle Royale, I guess.
To be honest, it wasn't a match either, to be fair. And Dolce, I've got to say, Dolce wrestled most of that without it coming off. At one point, he come off and put it back on. But to wear a baseball cap in that ring, getting thrown about, fair play.
Keep his hair under control. But a Battle Royale, it was never going to be appalling. It wasn't. We didn't have a gimmick thing or anything like that. Of course, on the pre-show, what else did we have?
A title change.
We did have a title change on the pre-show, and I loved it. But Link, you can't even pretend.
I did love it, but ugh.
You called for this, Link.
I did.
You called for seeing. You actually said it was another one. A little while before you went. So when are we going to see the Gobbledygooker tonight?
And obviously there he was. And
what a person to bring him out as well.
So yeah, we had the Gobbledygooker, but we were all expecting the Gobbledygooker to be somebody, weren't we? I think Link called it, maybe. He said Drew Gulak.
Yeah.
But interesting that we just went Gobbledygooker. Obviously, 30 years to the day that he also debuted. He was definitely the biggest name to debut that day.
And he
There's
should have also
definitely
got,
nobody else that debuted that day.
he
Well, I
should
mean,
have also got some feet that fitted him because they just kept on falling off.
That was fantastic.
He's been around wrestling for longer than the Undertaker, though.
Matter of
He
hours,
was built. He was built. He was talked about before that, wasn't he, with the egg?
When was the Undertaker's last match?
that's true.
Yeah.
At
Yeah,
Mania.
that's a fair point. That's a fair
Longer
point.
career than the Undertaker.
I mean, Gobbledygooker's match. Well, I suppose if we count that as a match, that would average it at 3. He does one every 10 years on average.
And I've got to admit,
No,
he's
sorry,
lost.
that wasn't a match. Sorry, it's appearances are every 10 years. That's not even a
He's
match.
lost.
Appearances once every 10 years.
He didn't have a match at the first appearance,
No,
did he?
insane. Once every 10 years. He's technically only ever had one match.
No,
Technically.
two.
Well, last night didn't technically count. Wasn't
Yeah,
really a
it
match,
didn't
was
matter.
it?
Yeah, what?
It's
Why are we
some
talking
butter and
about
coconuts.
coconuts?
It ended in a pinfall. It's a match,
And he was in a battle royal.
and he was in the gimmick battle royal at WrestleMania 17. Yeah, which he lost to the Iron Sheik because the Iron Sheik wasn't fit enough to take a bump and couldn't be eliminated. You can't make it up, mate. You can't make it up. That's why the Iron Sheik won that match. True story.
We then moved on to the main event, and it was the surprise that we were starting with this one. I could have maybe seen them starting with the women's, but I wasn't particularly expecting them to start with the men's Survivor Series match. So Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. So Team Raw, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, Riddle, not Matt Riddle, Sheamus with the big dude against Team SmackDown. Sorry, mate.
I was going to say, it's pretty obvious why it started, to be fair, in the end.
Yeah. And then Team SmackDown, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, King Corbin, Otis, and Seth Rollins. But yeah, it completely makes sense. Completely makes sense. Which we will get to, I suppose, in that match.
Yeah.
So in the Survivor Series, we had Seth Rollins was eliminated first.
That one, it was kind of, we knew something was happening because the minute he walked out, he's like, steps up to something, the camera's focusing on him, staring away, not getting involved. We kind of knew something was coming with us straight away.
This was my favourite bit of storytelling with Seth recently. This, because he's the Messiah and he's basically reincarnated himself as Jesus, hasn't he? It's a great way that he's basically sacrificed his character. Well, a Messiah can be in different religions.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Calm down. Messiah can live from any religion, so.
Just made me giggle, that was all.
I knew what you were thinking. Well, yeah, he's the Messiah, because of course he's Jesus, he's the Messiah. When...
There wasn't what I was thinking, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's just the comparison to Seth Rollins to Jesus.
Well, yeah, so yeah, Seth has been that has been essentially his gimmick. It's been kind of weird, but I like the fact that the way they've potentially got rid of that character is by him sacrificing himself.
And if they had it done at the perfect time, because it's got a bit stale and they've not tried to drag it on, if they have got rid of it, it's the perfect time. That's what we were saying last night as well, all three of us.
Yeah.
It'd be good to let it go now.
It wasn't a case of he just led down either. Sheamus kicked him whilst he was on his knees. Like, fair play. So that was the first elimination, and that made perfect sense, and I'm really pleased the way they did that one. So obviously that was Seth gone from SmackDown.
Yeah, because we said he's going to be taking time out now, though, because his baby's due in December.
We then had Kevin Owens eliminated by AJ Styles. So Kevin Owens, I think, hit a stunner on every single one in the ring. During our live stream, Link had gone to the toilet at this point and missed all the stunners, and Styles with a phenomenal forearm to the pin. It's a shame they're doing this to Kevin Owens, then they've not left him in a bit longer, but we all saw it coming that Kevin Owens was going to be one of the early on ones. I had him down in our predictions for tiebreakers as the lone survivor for just sheer hope that he was the last one. No other reason. I love KO. Sheer hope. Although he was eliminated by my favourite, so I can't complain. King Corbin was eliminated by Riddle. After that, which I sort of saw come in that it was going to be left with Otis and Jay, because on paper they're probably the weaker two on paper. In terms
How do you remember?
it's written down here, mate. I've got my Wikipedia open.
So like, you go through it, and I'm like,
You're like, your memory's incredible, Dan.
yeah.
So
I know.
what have I done? What you'd worked out if I started giving out how long into the match it was, wouldn't you? But gone
Yes.
like so. Corbin was eliminated after 13 minutes and 5 seconds.
Oh well, yeah. That would have probably gave it away a little bit.
We then had Otis Braun little face off. That was okay. Did his job. And then of course we had Jey Uso finish him. Made him look strong. Five on one. Made him look strong.
Very strong, to be fair.
Did his dive onto the entire side of Raw and managed a few super kicks, and then that was it. They had him back. Keith Lee finished the job. Raw won.
Yep. Keith Lee needs that push now.
What did you think of that match, by the way, lads?
I
Sorry.
quite enjoyed it. There was some good little spots in there from both sides, to be fair.
I mean,
I thought
I enjoyed it. Sorry, Pete. I've done that twice in a row. I didn't mean to
That's
talk
cool.
over
so,
I really enjoyed it. It was a great match. The Raw team held together very well, and they actually were good in the end of the match, and they celebrated as a team, which I thought was very strange for the people involved. Obviously, AJ's still a heel.
Yeah.
I know Sheamus seems to have turned face. Riddle and Keith Lee are both faces, and Strowman seems to be face as well, actually. So,
well, it was like that time when, right at the end, when Strowman and Sheamus started pushing each other, then turned around and started laughing at each other and carried on posing together. It was like,
yeah.
I think the thing was supposed to be the fact that AJ was the only real heel out of them, but he was like watching them a bit warily. That's why he had the big guy with him. And they were like, well, AJ's not going to start on us, so sod it. Let's celebrate. Right, Street Profits New Day. I've gone through this 3 times now, and it's been interrupted, and it's very obvious that none of us really give 2 hoots about this match. It was an okay match. They did their thing. The Street Profits had blue everything.
apart from the cup.
No, they had the cups on there. Yeah, they went to the extent of having a blue cup, but they couldn't get blue necklace made. They could have gone to that extent, but
who wears a
it wasn't. It was 2.
just stupid gimmick? Go away.
It is a ridiculous gimmick. So I forgot to say on our last round, Team Raw. You both had Team Raw, and I had SmackDown. But
Yeah.
you knew it was going to be Raw, but I did it for the video. So the Street Profits beat the New Day, and we ended up with obviously them shaking hands at the end, and that was about it. And they'll move on. They'll go do their things on their own brands. It was a bit of a pointless one. I don't think we necessarily needed that match at all. To be fair, for the show, it's great to have the titles on there, but did we need them? Not entirely convinced we did. What else do we have then? Following up, we had Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
From what I remember, it was actually an okay match. It was was the shortest match of the night.
It was clever.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. He did exactly what he was intending on doing. You know, Sammy played the mind games and tried to use his smarts to outsmart Lashley, and eventually got caught, and obviously that was the ending. It was a classic strategic versus powerhouse, and it was done very, very well by everyone involved in the match, like not just Lashley.
That's the thing. There was the outside. Go on. No, go on.
No, you're good, Rick. You carry
on. The guys outside were doing it really clever as well. He went out, pushed them about a bit, trying to get the DQ. So yeah, it was really. I thought it'd be a bit of a squash match this one, but I was actually quite impressed.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by the result of the match either, with Lashley winning it. Sammy took a loss, like we said on the Friday before the pay-per-view. He obviously wasn't going in there with his full, I don't know how to explain it. He wasn't like on a ride of momentum or anything going into the match. And it wouldn't have made much sense for him to lose to a tag team champion in a match that's completely separate to this, to then go into a massive match and win it. It just wouldn't make sense. Lashley's obviously on a massive push at the moment and is doing really well. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, Lashley's not my cup of tea, cup of tea. But I enjoyed it. It worked. Sammy's good.
He's big enough to be several people's cups of tea because he's, a huge dude.
Yeah. Oh, but by the way, on that one, we all went. Again, I lost the predictions massively last night. So Sami Zayn I had on that one. You both went Lashley, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
We then had Sasha Banks versus Asuka. We all went Asuka on that one. So of course it was going to be Sasha Banks because
stupid
wrestling and us not getting it right and all that. It was an okay match. There was a few botches. This was probably the one that I probably enjoyed the least, but then maybe that's because I found the women's division so stale recently. So it's probably a bit unfair of me to say, oh, this was poor. This probably not unfair of me to say this was good either. It's just my opinion shouldn't count on this one because.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I've sort of let my emotions on this one and the last one get the best of me on the women's division.
No, I agree with that. I was kind of dreading it before it even started this one, so I don't know.
So, I'll be honest, it wasn't a bad match. There was a couple of botches, but if I'm realistic, there wasn't an abnormal amount. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a couple of spots that were just like, what? But throughout the night, you get those sorts of things, and it wasn't a ridiculous amount of silly mistakes or anything.
So we had the women's Survivor Series match 5-on-5. I probably should go through the team, shouldn't I? Team Raw was Lacey Evans, Lana, Nia Jax, Peyton Royce, Shayna Baszler. Team SmackDown was Bayley, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Natalya, and Ruby Riott. I've got really mixed opinions on this one. This isn't because it's gone stale or anything, but in terms of a match, I've got really mixed opinions on the whole thing. So we started off with Bayley versus Bayley being. Yes, I saw that too. Bayley was first eliminated by Peyton Royce. Did we see that one coming, lads?
No. The one thing I like about it is there's certain wrestlers in this that we thought were going to be going very early that put on a really damn good show.
Peyton Royce was then next eliminated by Natalya, and I believe was Peyton. No, because we did get to actually Soul Survivor in the end, sorry, didn't we? But at one point, yeah, it was looking like a bit of a whitewash for Raw in the end, towards the end.
That's I don't know what submission they were going for, but it looked like it would have been quite cool. So I'm a little bit upset that they didn't get it.
Yeah. So we had Peyton Royce eliminated by Natalya with the dodgy botch.
Yeah.
But just after the dodgy botch. But it's not bad going. That was probably the big standout botch of the night. Would you say, lads?
Peyton Royce. What?
Wow.
I think that was really the only one that was noticeable too much. Apart from a bit of a dodgy Drew stare incident, that was the only real one.
Yeah. So, running down in order in terms of people that were eliminated next, Natalya, then Ruby Riott, then Lacey Evans, then Liv Morgan. We was expecting to see Ruby, then Liv get eliminated in close succession, but...
The Riott Squad put on a decent show between the pair of them. Some quick combos. They were doing because they would beat down Nia Jax quite a bit.
Well,
the way they were...
Go on, mate, sorry. Done it again.
I'm saying the way they done their combos was really good at one point. It was quite impressive, considering I don't really like watching them normally.
We then had, towards the end, Shayna Baszler basically making Bianca pass out, but on the rope, and got herself DQ, which I thought was really good, really nicely done. She
didn't take a loss herself, didn't take a pinfall, didn't submit, so yeah.
And it made her look more of a monster than she already is, so I thought that was really well done. And then, of course, we end up with the ending, which I'm still not sure about it. With Nia Jax and Bianca Belair ending in a double count out, because Bianca Belair was fantastic throughout this entire match. Nia Jax is okay, did okay during the match, to be fair, but Bianca was fantastic. Of course, that meant with a double count out, Lana from Team Raw, who hadn't even entered the ring once and hadn't left the steps, was our sole survivor.
And which also made Link win the whole predictions.
It did. Lana staying on the steps and not moving won Link the predictions throughout the entire show. I mean, chances of that, eh?
Yeah, it was a special match, and the ending of the match was just. So I think everything in that match was very well structured. Like they played. Nia was in a great spot, you know, with the two faster girls running around her, and you know, Natalya played to her strengths with a submission prowess. Bianca Belair came out looking like a hero, and you know, basically taking out both of the tag team champions, regardless of whether she did it deliberately or not.
Yeah.
Lana was just a subservient. You know, she did as she was told, regardless of how they wanted it. Everything was perfect. It was all set up. It was really well done. I think it was just. I don't think that they could have put any of the girls into a better spot than the way it was done.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would have liked to have seen. I don't know. I don't know what I'd like to see. This is the thing. This is what I can't work out. Whether I hated it, disliked it, liked it, or actually loved it. Because I don't actually know what I wanted from it. But there's something that was missing. I would have maybe liked Lana to go in at some point.
I don't think I wanted anything from the match. I didn't care who it was that won, lost, drew. You know, I don't have an investment in the women's division in WWE at the moment. I don't have any. I don't really give a crap. You know, I like certain women. Like I do like Bianca Belair, for example.
Yeah.
I've got to admit, the one thing I wanted from that was I was dreading Bianca Belair or Shayna coming out looking weak.
Yeah.
And they kept both of them looking so strong. That's all it needed. And like you said, it gave Lana that sneaky victory that she's needed to get a bit of vengeance back on Nia Jax. It worked perfectly. None of them got made to look silly in that match. Everyone looked quite strong, to be fair.
So are we thinking we're going to end up with a Lana push from like...
I don't know if there... I think that might have been the... that might have been the bit that she was going to get. The little bit of vengeance. I don't think you're going to see much more now.
But yeah, I would have liked... I was actually said this last night, didn't I? I would have liked to have seen Lana go through the table for the 10th time at Survivor Series.
Evil person.
Well, it'd have made it nicer than, let's say, her going out tonight. Shall we move on to the main event then, lads?
Yep.
Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. This is the one that we found absolutely ridiculously hard to call. If this had been Randy Orton that Roman was facing, it was obviously a foregone conclusion it was Roman.
I was pretty much certain it was Roman until I started seeing all the build-up to it, the contract signings, and I went, this could go anyway because Drew's getting it. And he's been bigged up and he's been made look so strong.
With Roman, we had an entire thing earlier on in the show after Jay had lost the Survivor Series match, Jey Uso, where he actually told him to go home and he wasn't wanted. Jimmy went away and said, "Oh, we don't need this," and off he went, off he popped, and then
and his brother.
Sorry, yes, I said Jimmy off he went, and then Jay shortly followed, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that was the sort of a bit of a turning point in the match that he came out. I can't actually remember what happened. He came out and what happened?
There was a ref bump, wasn't there? and Drew hit the Claymore.
Yeah, and then he got in the ring, tried to attack Drew. It failed at first, and then I think he managed to nail a super kick, and it went into a Claymore. I'm not entirely sure.
No, they went into the Superman punch, and the ref was up and awake.
Yeah, something like that. Something along those lines.
These refs that are made of glass that normally stay down for hours on end. This ref was up quite quickly because that was the same ref that finished the match, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, they didn't get another one out.
Very odd. That doesn't normally happen. But that match I think was actually very good. We're tired, and I think we maybe did this justice by how tired we are. But I think that
both were looking really strong. Both wrestlers looked really strong.
It built them both beautifully. They told a great story. Drew lost because of submission, but he didn't look any worse at all.
It was a new ref. Okay.
Okay, it might have been a new ref. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the thing was, they both, at one point, I think about 5 minutes for the end, we actually said that either one of these could lose now, and neither of them were looking weak. They're both looking really strong.
It was a good match. It was very, what's the word? It was a hard-hitting match. Like, they were both, like...
Oh, it was brutal, wasn't it? There was...
It was a big hit. You know, it was obviously a clash of heavyweights. It wasn't like, you know, you've seen Roman have matches before and they kind of graze off each other, and but this was, every move had a purpose to it. It was for both of them as well. Like it was more solid. Like you kind of felt every single hit, every punch, every move in the match.
Well, it built them as what they are, as monsters, didn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what happened with Roman while he was away, if he went and took like some crazy acting classes or what, but he's an absolute master storyteller now. Absolute master.
He's twice the wrestler than he was before, I think, in my opinion, overall.
And that was the ending. I've just read it. I've just seen what it was, and we actually said Drew looked really, really strong because Roman put him into the submission, and we all thought Drew was gone, and Drew stood back up and went to power out of it and then went down. But just that little bit of standing back up again, it kind of made him look like stupidly strong because Roman stopped people out. He stopped Braun Strowman with that one move. For then Drew to almost power out of it and then pass out, like I said, Strowman passed out. Well, Strowman lost clean from that day. For Drew to almost power out of it
would have been crazy, wouldn't it? I think that sort of did. Well, actually, we ended up obviously with Jay coming in, and we wasn't sure what Raymond would make of it, but obviously he embraced him at the end, which I was wondering what they'd do. I was wondering if you said about him getting angry with him, Link. So
he was told to go, weren't he? He was told to leave, go home, not follow orders. So
it's interesting because now that actually splits the opinions of the Usos properly now, doesn't it? That massively splits them. Because it's clear. Well, based on the previous encounter with Jimmy, Jimmy still can't be bothered with Roman and doesn't really follow him as the.
I don't know.
I think as soon as Jimmy's back, they're going to bring that storyline in, and I think it'd be quite interesting. To be fair,
if they do go with the Jimmy's not following his brother Jay thing, then we're going to have the same storyline again that we had with Jay over SummerSlam and Hell in a Cell. And it makes sense. It worked, and just build the stable a bit more.
Would it be a Jimmy versus Jay? Would they go down that one?
Like force them to.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Yeah.
That'd be a different take on it. That'd be quite interesting.
So the take a retire in for me was, I wasn't expecting to get as emotional as I did. And obviously, Link got extremely emotional and even turned his camera away. I was trying to explain to my wife that for many people, sort of from my age up to the age of in the mid-40s,
Yeah.
Taker is probably one of the last few things we have of our childhood memories that were still going. And so that's sort of how painful it was to sort of see him go, but at the same time, it had to happen. It was always gonna happen, and I'm sort of really pleased he got to go out on his terms. Whether it was with fans or not, okay, it would have been nice with fans, but he got to go out on year 30 at Survivor Series to the day that he debuted. Not many people can say they can do that. That's
I think it was fitting. I think it was very fitting. The timing and everything. I think it was. It gives it that symmetricalness that, you know, full circle and an ending. It. Look, I mean, it was hard. You know, none of us really want to admit that it's done. It was. It's like a lot of things in wrestling. You know, we all know it's going to come. We all know that, you know, time's going to change, and, you know, we all got the heads up that Edge was probably going to be retiring before it happened, but we all still watched it, and, you know, it hurt. We all watched. I mean, even the Ric Flair. I'm not a Ric Flair fan, but I watched that, and, you know, it was powerful. It was something that you felt, because you saw so much respect from everyone around. So I think, yeah. Look, I'm going to just dissect the bits that I need to talk about, because I don't want to. I don't want to go again. You know.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of crazy how it happened, and yeah, I can see all of us starting to get emotional again.
Yeah. So the guys all came out that were his friends throughout the business, and that was nice. You know, it wasn't. They came out to show support. You know, they didn't need to be there as such. They were just there to show a bit of support, and for other people to, you know, sort of appreciate how much of a part Taker played in the business, and how much he played a part in other people's lives backstage, because it's not a part of Taker that you get to see. You know, you see him in the ring, and that's it. The bit. Look, I mean, we got Vince come out, and we got Vince talking about him, and we got Vince completely out of character, emotional. That was hard. Like, I struggled with that.
As soon as Vince appeared, that was because we were umming and ahhing, but as soon as Vince appears, it was like, yeah, okay, this is done. This is
done. What I was going to say. For me, the whole build up to it, the reason I was like, hold on a minute, you never know in WWE. There's twists, there's turns. The second Vince was in that ring, I was like, yeah, he's done. There's no way that man's coming out of character unless that is it. That's what shocked me. That's what hit me for a bit. Thinking, wow, it is actually happening. It's not going to be a storyline. It's not going to be a twist. That's it.
So from there, we then obviously got Taker himself. You know, they introduced him. He got the entrance with the really cool lightning,
like the Tesla lightning thing that was playing his music. I did like that.
That was absolutely brilliant. Obviously he came out, and I mean that's where I went. I'm not gonna lie, like, I struggled at that point, especially. But then he spoke, and you could hear it in his voice. You could hear his voice wobble as he spoke, and you could tell how much it's all meant to him. And that hurt. It's hard to explain to someone that doesn't get it. It's a pain, but it's not a pain at the same time. You know, like, we've got enough respect for him to know that this has to happen, and it has to be the end. But it's just something that you don't want to happen. You know, it's like leaving, I don't know, like leaving school or leaving home when you first move out from your parents. Yeah, you've got the excitement of what's next, but, you know, you're not going to see your parents as often anymore. You're not going to see your old teachers that you've really loved, or, you know, it's a feeling you can't really. Yeah, it is a respect thing as well. It's But the bit that I need to mention it is like because I don't want to just babble.
This got everyone though, not you. Everyone.
The bearer like that.
Yeah.
I was done. Like I absolutely just killed me. I
That got everybody. Everyone said they held it together until then.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like it was such a respectful way to do it, and
It speaks
It was
about
really-
a lot
really
about a lot of what the man did also did for Taker's career as well, which was
Yeah.
nice, and also what Taker did for Bearer's career. And I'm so glad that they put it in.
Like you said, he wasn't just his manager. He would go around book cars for him. He would book hotel rooms for him. He would travel with him. He was his mentor, really. Just done everything.
Yeah, it
So
was,
it was amazing to do that.
Yeah, as Cryptic has just said in our Twitch chat. Yeah, now I think now is the time. Now, isn't it? It's
Straight in. Put him straight in.
the next thing. That is what we know that's coming. So at least we know that it's not going to be the last time we see Taker. We will see Taker for his induction, and do you know what? That's going to be a hell of a lot more emotional. I think even more so than his farewell.
It's gonna be tight because no one. I think this one was a bit of a shock factor because everyone's like, is he? Isn't he? Is he? Isn't he?
no,
And I think it was good to know a bit of a bad one, the final nail in the coffin, that he was gone.
I completely disagree.
What do you think the farewell will be more?
I think that was the one that's going to hit. I think the Hall of Fame is going to be great, and we're going to get a lot of Taker stories
we will
between.
come
now-
to terms with that, I suppose, by then, I guess.
Well, it's not even that. It's between now and when he eventually goes in. We're going to get a lot more interviews. We're going to get a lot more of Taker just talking out of character, and we're going to have that.
Yeah, I
Not
can see your point of view on that.
oversaturation. But we're going to have the curtain peeled so far back that by the time he comes out for that, he's going to be a regular person again.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to be the character Undertaker. He's going to be himself, and I mean, he deserves that. He genuinely does. Like he deserves to be able to be himself. We'll see. We'll see.
The thing is-
I don't think the Hall of Fame is going to be as emotional as that was.
Like he's been stripping that back to see Mark Calloway and not the Undertaker for a little while now, but I think it'll be very full on now, and you're going to see a lot of him, like you said. And it was just the not knowing if it was really going to happen last time, and then in such a minutes we found out it's not up to it's happening now. Just a bit of a shock to see it.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all we can say on that for this podcast. So in terms of the podcast, I think that rounds us out here. We will obviously be carrying on the stream till for the final 15 minutes. So I just want to say
We've got our punishments.
we have got our punishments, which we've got to talk about. So me and Pete have got a punishment. We talked about it being speech jammers, but maybe if anybody in our podcast on our Twitch chat now, or people that are watching our podcast come up with something better, then I'm happy changing it. But in all fairness, in terms of length, this has been doing a 24-hour charity stream, especially for Link, who was here for the full 24 hours, has been bloody hard. And we hope that I will leave the link to our Just Giving in our YouTube description. If you can give anything, then we'd be super grateful. We're pretty much at triple figures now, and if we can get even further into that, then that'll be amazing. So that's pretty much leaves us there for this podcast, guys, and we will see you in the next one.
Peace.
Yeah.